So we're almost there now. We added our launch screen, our icons, a name, optimized our code, made sure third-party packages are configured correctly. Now it's really time to build this app for production and then deploy it to the app stores. For this, I now also want to point you at the official Flutter documentation again. There, under deployment, you find detailed instructions on how to deploy for Android and iOS. And I strongly recommend that you read through these instructions as well to have all the details, further links, and detailed configuration instructions. Now, here I'll start with Android. We already added a launcher icon, so I'll go straight ahead to signing the app. And there, to publish the app, you first of all need to create a key store. And for that, you should be able to simply run this command here. So back in my project folder, here in the terminal, I just paste in that command and execute it. Now enter a key store password, which is totally up to you. Just remember it. And fill out the information which you're getting asked here. It doesn't have to be valid in theory, but all of this will be used to sign your application in the end, and therefore prove that it's you. And all this information will be considered in the signing algorithm in the end, you could say. Therefore, even though users won't see that and you theoretically could sign with wrong information, you should really use your real information here to have a correctly signed application with correct information. Now, once you're done with that, you created your key store here, and you should not include that key store anywhere where you share your code with other people. You should keep that private to you because it can now be used for assigning your app. So basically for saying, hey, I created this app and I take responsibility for its correctness. So you want to be the only one who does that. The next step is that you now reference this app, this key store from inside your app. And for that, as it's mentioned here, you should create a new key.properties file in your Android folder. So let's go into Android and in there, create a new file, key.properties. And copy in the content here. Now here, simply use the password you used for creating your key, which you entered just a few seconds ago. And then here, point at your key store. And by default, that should be in your users folder if you just copy and pasted this command here. So in my case here, the path is /users/ my username, because that path exists on my machine here, and then key.jks, and that should be the path to your key store. Now, as it's mentioned here, you should also not check this file into source control. So if you're using source control, make sure that you ignore your key file here. For example, by going to the Android related section here, then pointing at the Android folder, and there simply ignore your key.properties file like this, so that it's not checked into source control so that other people can't read it if you share your code. Now you need to configure signing in Gradle in the Android app build Gradle file. So Android app, and then in there build Gradle. And there replace the Android entry with this entry here in the end. So let's search for that. Here's Android. Mark this line and only this line, not the code below it, only this line, and replace it with the code you just copied. Let me fix the indentation. And now this is pointing at the key properties file, which then holds all the information about the key in the end. Also replace this code here with this code as it says. So go to build types. Mark all of that as you can see. And then replace all that marked code with this new code. And now you should have everything set up to sign your apps for production. And signing is an important part of publishing Android apps, because by signing an app, you basically, as I said, prove that you are the author of the app. The app basically gets mapped to you. You are the responsible person for this app. And this is basically one important step in the Android publishing process to ensure that you are publishing a valid app and that people can find out who owns this app in the end, or that your app can really be mapped back to you. Now with that, we're almost done, though you should also go to your pubspec.yaml file, and there you find a version. Now this version is important. This is in the end the version that's displayed to your users, the thing in front of the plus, and that you use internally. Whenever you update your app and you publish a new version, you want to change these versions. The version your users see should be updated such that it makes sense to your users. For example, if you only have a minor bug fix, maybe you increment only the last number here. You have a bigger new feature which doesn't break everything though. Maybe change the middle number. Or you have a brand new version of your app which really is quite different to the previous version. Change the number in the front. In the end, that's up to you. It's just about how you communicate changes to the users. Something like 2.0 always looks bigger than 1.0.1. So that's simply how you can manage this, what your users will see when you release a new updated version to the store. This internal number is something I would also recommend that you increment simply to a new number like this. So not a dot number, but simply just a new integer. That you increment this with every new version you release to the store. So initially we start with this. Once we release the next version, we would change this to 2 and maybe here to 1.0.1. That's how you manage these numbers. These will automatically be included in the build project thereafter. So now with all of that out of the way, we can build our app for production. We do this by running flutter build and then app bundle, not Android, but app bundle. This will build an Android app, but in an app bundle version, which is the version Google actually wants you to submit to the Google Play Store. So let's use that and let's wait for this build process to finish. This will now automatically build it for production mode and therefore shrink your code, optimize your code as much as possible. And after a while, this should be done and then give you an app which you can deploy to the Google Play Store. So this here completed. Now we have an app bundle. Now we can ship that. For that, you can search for Play Console or Google Play Console. And you should find a link that leads you to the Google Play Console, which you can use to publish your apps. Click on Launch Play Console, therefore. And the first time you sign in here, you will have to pay a fee of $25 so that you can publish apps. It's a one-time fee. It's basically in place so that you only publish an app if you're at least a bit serious about it. And once you did that with your Google account, you paid that fee, you can upload your app. So here, create a new application, choose your default language and give it a name like Great Places, create. And now fill out the title, short description, full description, add images and make that shop screen look good because in the end that is what should users get to download your app. I will not focus on this here, however. These are all fields which should be pretty self-explanatory. Instead, click on App Releases here. There you could also set up betas or alphas. I will go to the production track, click Manage, and then here create a release. Click Continue here. And then in the end, upload your app bundle here. For that, you can click Browse Files. And in your project folder, you should now find a build folder. And in there, in the end, an app folder with an outputs folder. There, a bundle folder with a release folder. And that's your app bundle, which you just created. Click Open here and upload this. And this is now your app. And as soon as you configured the rest of this entire page and listing here, filled out all the details and so on, you can actually publish your app through the Google Play Console here to the Google Play Store so that other users and people can download and use your app. And that's the deployment process for Android. Let's now have a look at how this works on iOS.